Professional football in America is a special game, a unique game. Played nowhere else on earth, it is a rare game. The men who play it make it so.
Hey, everyone in, let's go. Huddle up on three. 1, 2, 3, huddle up.
Y'all like y'all never played football before. He calls them nothing.
You hear me?
They please us like we do.
Yes, sir.
They sweat just like we do.
Do you hear me?
They went through tour days. We went through tour days in 110-degree heat.
Yes, sir.
I want you to hit everything to move. If the ref gets in your way, you hit him.
Okay, then, let's play.
But that cheating us too. That gets us too. This is our team. This is us. Let's go right now. Let's get it off now. Let's go.
Back-to-back, man. You do not see this in college football.
But the Georgia Bulldogs bludgeon their way to back-to-back. Glory, glory, Georgia, as the fight song says.
For the lead. Butker up, got it. And the Kansas City Chiefs have won Super Bowl 57. And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
You are looking live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Week number is this 3 already of the live show. How have I lost track of how many weeks we've been back live? That tells you just how insane we already are in the new year. I think we're in week 3 of the live shows. Well, yeah, it would be because it was the first week of college football, and then we've had a week of the NFL. Good. I'm here.
I think it's 4.
No.
We did the college preview. Remember? We did.
Yeah, the
season
college preview was after the alleged week 0, which there is no such thing.
And rightly so.
Right.
Shit, it would be week 4.
No, I think you're right. No, that is.
No, I'm right. I'm right. Hold on.
You're right.
I got to look at it because now I'm driving my brain. Yeah, we started on the 29th. This is week 3.
Correct.
Holy hell. All right, welcome in Huddle Up Podcast, the 3rd week of the live shows. It is Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. Dear Lord, we're off the we're off the rails and it's week 3.
We are looking live.
Welcome back to the craziness that is the football season. Just a 3-man crew tonight. No Sean, no Matt. Matt is on assignment. But it is myself, Jim. It is Ernest, EJ Christian, student of the game, Kyle Nash. Mikey's probably got to be in the comments, I'm sure. He's hanging out, or he will be. Devin is here with us. Yeah,
Devin's gonna be happy right now.
Devin hits the nail on the head, man. Yeah, he's got to be happy because he's a Dolphins fan, but he hits the nail on the head. Check on your friends who are New York Jets fans. That's probably just a good
actually
life lesson in general.
Let me stop him right there. The Jets defense is not getting enough pump here.
I agree.
In the press, buddy. Like, if I'm a Jets fan, I'm like, you know what? We suck, but we're gonna suck a lot less.
Yeah, no, and we will certainly talk about the big news from the last 24 hours, and as it relates to those New York Jets and their fans. A colleague of mine this morning who is a huge Jets fan, I messaged him and I said, I send my heartfelt congratulations and condolences because I didn't know what else to say.
That was the dude that kept mocking you about your Lions failing last year. This is karma.
Ernest DJ Christian, how we doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing well. By the way, I think you're confused because the fact that we did the studio game also simulcast last week too is probably what throws off.
Yeah. Hey, look, if I'm blaming Kyle, then I'm doing something right.
I mean, listen, there's a first.
I blame you.
Ooh. This feels like revengeance from being a vengeance from being a defendant, Jim. But
I like revengeance. That's good. That's good.
Simulcast, Jim, was actually the first show to air on oldschool101.com this weekend, and I actually got a call from the guy who runs it, complaining about EJ's language. So there's that.
I was going to say just how good we are. I know it's a problem I have. I try to calm it down.
Tell
but
me
I
suck
just
it up.
can't stop.
But I did, you know, it's funny. That did kind of affect me today because I was like thinking to myself, like, do I curse too much on my podcast? Maybe I should settle down a little bit on the cussing.
You
I mean-
absolutely fucking curse too much on your podcast.
Perfect.
No, but it's funny because I'm thinking about it because like I've started integrating my family in the show more often. My son's come on the show a lot more regularly now.
Oh,
My wife's coming on the show now. I'm like, is this a bad look for me to be cussing like this on my family? Christian
you know what
family?
they call that podcast, Jim? It's the NBA dunk contest.
Jeez. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Shut up, bitch.
That is a disgusting act.
Wow.
Student of the game, Kyle Nash. How we doing?
Honor, joy, and privilege to listen, playing a little bit hurt, but have a lot of fun doing it. And listen, guys, screw it. We're gonna hit it all. Let's have some fun.
I'm ready to go. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, we if you're following along with us live, give us a like and a share. We'd certainly appreciate that. Make sure you are subscribed to the show, all podcast platforms, YouTube, TikTok, all of that. Get your merchandise over at TeePublic. But yeah, let's dive right in, man. Well, we promised this segment would return, and it certainly has, and it is back after from last year. We didn't do it last week because we had plenty of other things to get to, but now we're back into our normal routine. It is the
Jim,
good.
You saved it for the simulcast.
Oh, we
That's what you
did, but we didn't do it on this particular program.
Well, we're not simulcasting. So
Well,
actually, really, you did do it on this program because as far as everybody knew on the Huddle Up Podcast YouTube channel, Bing, that they saw it anyway.
Well, that's true. That's true because your
What
show
can I
does-
say except you're welcome?
Did by proxy. There you go.
That is true. Wait, nope, that one.
What can I say except you're welcome?
Well, Kyle, I do say this lovingly.
You're a goddamn genius.
I felt like both applied there. I agree.
I mean, they do. It fits either way. That's what she said. But it is the good, it is the bad, it is the ugly. EJ, I will head to you first for the good. What is your good from this past
I'm
week?
gonna say the good this week. This is gonna go under the radar, given all the things that happened this weekend. But I'm gonna go through a little under the radar thing. Matthew Stafford was good this weekend.
You think that's under the radar?
No one's talking about it really. Obviously the Rodgers stuff and Tua, and rightfully so. No one's saying that you shouldn't talk about those
Rightly
things.
so.
But Matthew Stafford,
Rightly so.
no Cooper Kupp for 4 weeks.
That's true.
And he throws for 334 yards, 24-38 in Seattle, a game that people thought after a couple was announced out for the quarter of the year that, okay, well, the Rams are going to suck this year. Are we maybe seeing the return of Matthew Stafford back to Super Bowl Stafford from 2 years ago?
Whoa.
We'll see. I'm not saying this. I'm just saying, though, nice start. 2 receivers for 119 yards each. Just saying. I'm not calling it. I'm just saying that based on one
Hey,
game,
you brought it up.
division rival. A lot of folks like Seattle this year. There was some that picked them in the division on this panel too. I won't say names. They got blown out at home.
They did.
Just saying.
Wait, who got picked on what and what, Pat? What?
There's some people. I think a few people picked Seattle to win the division.
I
on this
picked
panel.
Seattle to win the division.
I did
Yeah.
not.
Okay, I did not either.
You know, yeah.
And I think Sean did too. Didn't Sean pick one also? I'm not
That
mistaken.
you're asking me to remember things from a week ago. That's a mistake. Buddy, if you ask me what I had for no, do I know? Yes, I do know what I had for
The
breakfast
answer is
today.
popcorn.
No, well, I was gonna say what I had for breakfast today, but I did not have popcorn for breakfast today.
Don't say it like you haven't ever considered it, though. Don't judge me.
Bro,
I was kind of torn.
I'm
I
a
was kinda-
man who
oh.
brings popcorn home from sporting events and movie theaters. I have had popcorn for breakfast. Okay. I'm not even judging myself for that. I'm just saying I didn't have it today.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Kyle, what was your good from this past weekend?
You know, there's a lot of directions I can go here. There was welcome back, you know, week 1 NFL, all that other stuff. But because it's Thursday, I don't want this show to scrape it under the rug. Oh wait, no, I don't want to steal Jim's thunder. Well, actually, no, I'll steal his other thunder.
Here's the thing. I have 2 prepared, so you cannot steal
And
mine.
I know I have one of them when I say, how about the Lions showing up big? Goodness gracious. I know. But Travis Kelce didn't play. I get it. And did they get a little bit of help from Kadarius Toney? Listen, if somebody doesn't have them in the batter ugly, somebody probably has them. That's fine.
I do not.
Well, there's 3 members of this panel, and who knows, somebody in the comments may add it in. That's a thing that's happened before, but man, you got to throw Man Campbell up in this piece, especially after I threw something up on Thursday where Byrne was prepared to be exposed as the joke that EJ normally is, and now looks like a goddamn genius. Instead.
Yeah, man. I wish I would have pulled the trigger on picking them. I do have them as my North division champions. So
As do
just
I.
saying.
That's
But
fair.
yeah, a huge win for them. Yeah, what a way to start the year for Detroit, man. Absolutely. My good is no, I was just debating between which of the two I wanted to go since you guys both went NFL. I'll go college, man. And I'm not saying that they're back. I'm just saying a really big win for the University of Texas to go into Alabama and to win the way they did. I understand this isn't the normal Alabama team, but you know, that's a big win. That's a big win no matter how you slice it when you start digging into how many double-digit losses Nick Saban has had in college and at home and all of this stuff. What happened Saturday doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
So a huge win for Texas. Absolutely.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'm surprised you did not pick you and EJ's Cowboys. But that's cool. And I think a good college one. That's an honorable mention, though it will probably trigger Jim. The Colorado Buffalo still doing the thing.
I mean, they're 2-0. I expected them to be 2-0. You know, after they beat TCU, I expected them to be 2-0. I expect them to be 3-0. And then we find out more. So
okay.
Can I get permission from the host to add a bonus of good real quick? Because I don't think we're gonna have this is gonna be a scenario that'll happen much this year.
An honorable mention.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, Kyle,
I was torn.
I showed you how to do it. Like, what the hell?
So I was torn on doing this too because, and I don't think we'll have enough opportunity to say this much this year because how bad the division is. But the NFC South was another good this year. 3 wins and one loss and the only reason the one loss was there because they actually faced each other.
No.
New Orleans won.
Okay. No.
Atlanta won.
EJ,
I'm just saying.
From here on out, you don't have permission to do an honorable mention anymore.
Just precisely terrible.
That's all. I don't want to mention it only because we won't have this ever again the rest of the year. So I want to get it out of the way.
Okay, he's using it from a novelty standpoint. I get it.
Because it won't happen again.
Oh, good for you.
Devin's good. Yeah, absolutely for Devin and all Miami.
What a great shootout. Oh, listen, I said it on the student of the game that game was going to rival the OK Corral as far as shootouts go. Thank you, Jim. And Devin, man, that game delivered. Credit all day.
Yeah, for sure. Matt he's still on assignment, but Matt did get his in. He has his good as Notre Dame making Herb Street look like a doofus because Herb Street was for sure that NC State was going to throttle Notre Dame.
So, really? I mean, first of all, that is surprising. A, B, how big an accomplishment is it really?
Well, that is true.
I mean,
Herb Street does that to himself enough, so.
Listen, I was at College Game Day where he admitted to seeing the light in 2018 when he was talking all the trash on UCF. I get it.
All right, Kyle, we'll start with your bad. What was your bad from this past weekend?
Wow. I'm gonna go this way. My bad. I know that there's gonna be a lot of do we need to check on Jets fans, spoiler alert. But can we check on all the people who were critical of the 49ers front office and coaching staff? Really? We got that big a problem? They should really be fired? Is that what we're doing? Because I know they dominated the Steelers pretty nice. And I'm sure this topic will come up more on that later. But yeah, in the words of Shaquille O'Neal, tell me how my bleep tastes, right?
I love it.
There you go.
Oh, I could have gone with the Titans fans that didn't like me picking them winning only 7 games. Tell me how my bleep tastes. Yeah.
They still hate you 2 years ago, bud. They still hate you.
He ain't lying.
And then we were right about it all along.
BJ, what was your bad from this past weekend?
Well, my bad is actually piggybacking off a little bit off of your good is talking about Alabama. we've seen them lose games every year, the last couple of years. You know, so not surprised to see them lose a game. But this one felt different. This one felt different. This not just because of the one loss, but the overall spectrum of Alabama football. Like, for the first time, like we've always teased before in the past, like, it's just the end of Saban or Alabama football, you know, Alabama's dominance, and then obviously they get to the, you know, to the SEC championship game, they get to the Final Four and all that, and it plays out the way it is. But
all the
for the
directions
first,
you could have gone, you picked
but
that.
but for the first time, I think in over a decade, or more longer than that, because I've been dominant since 2008, 2009. It really feels like we're at a real crossroads for Alabama in terms of dominance. Not in terms of being a good football team, but in terms of dominant Alabama, you know, top 5, 6 consistently every year. I think for the first, you know, with NIL, with dude, and you're starting to see a little bit of parity a little bit now in college football now. I don't know. It felt different this week.
Do you have a knee replacement sound effect yet? Because boy, it's out of the socket.
Hey, listen. I'm just
Christ.
look. Listen. This is my take. I'm just telling how I felt watching that game on Saturday.
And I'm telling you how I feel listening to this bullshit take right now.
It just felt different. Like when they lost to Tennessee last year, it's like, okay, Tennessee lost to Tennessee, but you know what? They'll be fine. They'll figure things out.
What?
It felt different this week.
No. This is why that's asinine, EJ. And I get it.
Why?
You're entitled to your opinion and all that other stuff. And once again, it's wrong. No one saw Tennessee coming. People picked the Texas game. That's why it's not the same.
I appreciate the thought, but you've got the story wrong.
It's the way they lost, though. And I felt like, yeah, this is different. This felt different this weekend. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know.
Watching
all the
this
stuff you could have picked, you picked that. That's
yeah. It stuck out. To my point, it stuck out. It just felt different this weekend.
Yeah. Well, I could see you're used to mediocre. I see your power rankings every week.
And look, maybe later in the year. I mean, you discussed on the podcast today.
And I'm not necessarily faulting the take, but I mean, after, you know, since 2017. So you look before 2017, you know, Alabama won 2017, 2016, 2015 they were in the, or 2016 they were in the championship. But they won it in 2017, 2015, 2012, 2011, 2009. They've won one in the last 5 years.
But they're always in a conversation, though. No matter what. This one feels a little different. Like I feel like
I don't know that they've really been in the conversation that hard in the last two. And I mean, I understand Georgia's kind of on a different plane, but like Georgia has been smoking them, either in the regular season, SEC championship, and or the national title game. Mm-hmm. So like, and then before, you know, then it was Clemson, LSU, Alabama in 2020 in the COVID year. And then it was Georgia and Georgia. So like, I don't know that them starting to feel like they're losing a sense of dominance should be that shocking.
It kind of reminds me of the Patriots circa 2009 to 2011. Now, granted, the Pats did come back and had another run on the second half of Brady's career, but there was a little area where they go to the wild card, losing the wild card, or the second round of playoffs. Like they were not in that top four, you know. Like they were really vulnerable as a team, like beyond just the making the playoffs.
I mean,
that's how it feels like to me.
Here's what I'll say about Alabama, though. If you came into this season thinking that Alabama was going to be dominant or really in the conversation, I don't think you were paying attention.
Right.
Because of the pieces that they had to replace, coaching staff wise, quarterback wise, like this was a big overhaul.
I think my larger point, though, Kyle, real quick, and I'll just talk a second. Yeah. It wouldn't shock. Now, Grant, we went through the schedule this earlier today in the podcast, Kyle, but it wouldn't shock me if they lost 3 to 4 games this year.
I'm not
3 or 4 games,
and I'm not.
I'm just saying it wouldn't shock me.
But the reason, and it depends on how you're defining dominance. You're using all this examples. Listen, alleged basketball guy. This is your example.
Allegedly.
Your example should probably be the dream team, right? The rest of the world is catching up.
Yeah,
all this is now to say that you've used different words to describe what we're talking about. What it is. What is the dominance you're talking about? Do you mean championship relevant? Do you mean a threat to win what might be, and by most accounts, is the best conference in college football? What is dominant? What are we talking about? because still at the beginning of every year, they're a factor, and there is a obvious path to a playoff spot.
Yeah, of course.
And that's not going to go away when the playoff changes, as it will in the coming season. So, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, well, I mean, if you're expecting them to win most of their games just the way, that's one thing. Like, if you expect them to win pretty much all their games going at least till SEC Championship weekend, that's one thing. I'm just saying that the way I felt after Saturday,
yeah,
is that,
who do we trust?
yeah. The Ole Miss thing. If they lose Ole Miss, I'm not surprised. If they lose to Auburn in Iron Bowl this year, I'm not surprised.
If they lose to Auburn, this should be in the segment. That's my point. When they get to 3 or 4 losses, that's when we need to be talking about bad, because calling it bad for Alabama is taking away from the good. We need to be. Can we celebrate something, for fuck's sake, instead of it always being about the negative? And we'll get into that later too, I'm sure. At the next part of the segment here, Jim. So I'll stop there.
Okay.
My bad, and it's more because it could have gone a lot worse, especially if you look at what happened on that same field last night. But Sunday night, you're down 30 plus in a monsoon, and why the hell is Daniel Jones and other starters still in that game in the third and fourth quarter? Why? Why? That's stupid. That is pure stupidity. Like, the potential for a lot of bad things. And we saw them 4 minutes in to Monday Night Football last night.
Later.
Like, dude, like, what are you doing? What if Daniel Jones would have gotten seriously hurt in the fourth quarter when he's still running designed runs in a monsoon when you're down 40? What are we doing here?
Punishing him.
Yeah.
Punishing him. No, but I can tell you why that happened, though. And by the way, I agree with you 1,000%, Jim, for the record on that. They should be playing in the first place. But with the changes of training camp and preseason games and less of those now, you're seeing a lot of teams now use week 1
for cohesion
as a tune-up
week.
It's almost like a week 3, week 4 preseason game, almost. Week 4 preseason game, rather. For them. It's stupid. I agree with 100%. It's dumb as shit.
I get it, and that's why a lot of week 1 was the days following week 1 were always bad for overreactions before they're even worse now because of what week 1 has become. But like, I don't care about cohesion. I don't care about using it as a 4th preseason game or whatever they want to say it. Here's the thing. I think it'd be dumb enough if the weather was perfect.
And they weren't playing where they were. Yeah.
Right. That's playing where it was. But in those weather conditions, I mean, they were at least smart enough to get Barkley out of there.
And not only that,
I'll at least give them that.
And to your
they were
point,
smart enough to get Barkley out of there. But
maybe they were trying to free up the spot at quarterback. I don't know.
You just signed a guy to an $80 million contract. Yeah. And he's out there in a monsoon when you're down 40.
Yeah. To your point, fuck cohesion. Health first and foremost.
Bingo.
But I mean, ask
the team on the other half of the field, on the other side of that stadium, about quarterback and health today.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, that could have gone. The Giants got lucky. It wasn't. Nothing bad happened. It just looked bad. Let's see. Matt had the bad as the Eagles play calling. Can't really argue with him there. Devin's bad. The Chiefs offense.
I mean, I hate when people just shout out play calling. It's just such a lazy response.
Well,
credit to the pass defense. How about that? Pass defense is really damn good. Can we go there? I mean, yeah, I'm with you on that, Kyle.
I mean, okay.
Chiefs offense, by the way, for Devin's response here, as bad as things look for the offense,
that's one guy.
All the drops, though.
Yeah.
I mean, if Tony gets even one of those drops, they might win that game. That's how good Mahomes is. Well, it was that bad, and yet one drop would win that game.
One of them resulted in the pick 6 that
there you go.
Won the Lions the game. So yeah, you're probably right on that one.
And one drop also to another drop would have been field goal position to win that game.
Now, in his defense, some teams have that happen to them twice and still win, i.e. UCF versus Boise State, which I covered for the Black and Gold Banneret.
All right, ugly. EJ, what's your ugly from the
My
weekend?
ugly is I guess I pick back up for you guys a lot today, Mr. Jim. But I'm gonna go on top of that. Of New
Copy
York.
my homework. There's a
Just
surprise.
no. But just New York football as a whole right now. Now, granted, one of those teams did win last night, but we know the narrative moving forward for the Jets. Giants football. What the fuck was that on Sunday? Again, I fell asleep at halftime. Woke. Story time. I said this Kyle earlier in the podcast. Say on this podcast, I fell asleep at halftime because I might waste my time this shit. Bing.
I mean, how much? I listen. You were so tired from celebrating how well your Cowboys did it after the first half. Of course.
Yeah. Whatever. Shut up. So fell asleep. Woke in fourth quarter. Thinking my wife would turn the game off at some point to watch Gordon Ramsay or whatever. She left the game on the entire night. I fell asleep. I'm like, honey, you can turn the game off now. She was trolling me, of course. So
as she should have.
Well, because not to say it's the Giants.
I tried to tell
I
you,
gave her,
but
but
listen that Brian Daboll was not the coach of the year.
No, but I gave her shit earlier because of the Saints. Because she's a big Saints fan, and I can't stand the Saints. So I guess.
Oh, so you deserved it. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Of course I did.
I mean,
no, but that plus obviously the news of the Jets, Aaron Rodgers out for the year and the whole nine. Just New York football as a whole. Overall specter not right now coming out of this weekend.
I'm not ready to sign off on the New York Jets being on the ugly yet.
More on that later.
Just saying. Like I get who the quarterback is now, but
Jim.
But here's the deal, man. He doesn't have to be Aaron Rodgers.
True.
He just doesn't have to be what Josh Allen was last night for the Bills. There, I said
what Zach Wilson was last season for the Jets. I said it.
Just don't turn the ball over, man. Don't cost your team games. Just be Trent Dilfer. Just be Joe Flacco. Just be Alex Smith. Just protect the ball, man. That's what you got to do now.
You know what all three of those game managers had in common there, Jim?
What's that?
Actual offensive lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is why we're here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but Zach Wilson also has one thing that those guys didn't have in the ability to move out of a pocket.
What's that?
He can move out of a pocket.
He can move in a pocket, but yeah.
Not after the whole thing where his leg got blowed up, but
I mean,
damn.
I'm just
too soon.
Again, like it's now he more on this later, but he doesn't have an easy assignment this Sunday.
No.
But yeah, I mean it's I'm not ready to sign off on the Jets being in the ugly category yet. Giants, absolutely. Kyle, you're
okay I'm okay with that. Deserve it. Absolutely.
I wasn't ready.
I will say though, the Jets running game though looked really good yesterday though, for the most part.
Absolutely.
Woo!
Running game was good. Special teams was good. Defense was great. Again, just don't turn the ball over, man, and that team is going to be fine.
I mean, I think the part that's truly ugly is all we got out of this humpy bumpy is 4 snaps, and the Packers can't even get the good out of their trade now because of it with that top pick. So that part's pretty damn ugly. You got it.
Silver linings.
Yeah, I know how you feel about the Packers. Listen, I felt the same way, right? Brett Favre and all that other crap. All right, I get it. My ugly, again, so many directions I could go. I get that they won the game, gentlemen, but it's only a matter of time before something's different. You know why? Because you can't spell Howell without the L's. And I can guarantee you those L's are coming for the Red Tails. Holy but Jesus, you looked terrible.
Yep.
At least in the other games where something was low or awry or kind of awful to watch, you can make an excuse with there. Maybe you could even tell me that the Saints defense isn't ugly, but boy, I would be quite the hypocrite after not focusing on the positive was my conversation there. Okay. I'm not going to do that, but there was nothing good about that game. At least the Saints and Titans game, even though I tried to tell EJ, but he wouldn't listen, was close for reasons I can fathom. I absolutely called that the Saints would win that game, by the way. That's what I mean.
Who's surprised at that? I called him win the game too.
Then why is your wife so mad at you? Anyways,
because I don't support her the Saints. I can't stand the Saints.
I'm not even going to have that conversation because they were playing the Titans. And well, anyways, punchline is the Titans defense is good. That's why we saw what we saw there. Okay. Bijan Robinson is good. That's why we eventually saw the Falcons win, and had very little to do with Desmond Ridder. I can get, the Ravens won big, but they have a rookie quarterback. And while the Ravens looked arguably meh, the Texans showed an improvement defensively.
Right.
The Steelers, the Steelers will get better. But they were playing the Niners defense. A Giants fan would know what it is when you just run into a defense that's on that night. It is what it is, right? There was nothing good about the Red Tails facing off against the Birds that have the red tail feathers in the Cardinals. Nothing about that was worth anyone's time.
No. And I mean, for Washington fans, it was a party atmosphere, and the dark cloud has lifted from over the dump hole that is FedEx Field. Good job. Congratulations. I'm happy that you don't have that terrible owner lingering over you anymore. But yeah, that wasn't good. It wasn't good.
This is the downside of buying or handling a transaction at that time of year, because you did not have time to impact the coming season.
Yeah, absolutely. My ugly from this past weekend, I was going to touch on the injuries, and there was obviously many, and one super high, a prominent figure in the NFL. But we kind of already touched on that with the New York football situation. My ugly is this Michigan State Mel Tucker investigation and that situation there. And I don't know if there's truth to the rumors that they're considering bringing back in Mark D'Antonio while Mel Tucker is on the shelf, who D'Antonio was subject of an investigation himself before he left East Lansing, but just an absolute mess there. And I mean, I'll let the investigation play itself out before people get convicted and whatnot, but just a pretty gross situation there all around at Michigan State. All right, Devin, his ugly. Come on, Devin, knock it off. His ugly is the Cowboys giving the Giants a whooping on Sunday night. That was great for me. I don't know what anybody else is talking about.
I mean, those of us who wanted a good game on Sunday feel like we lost out on that.
It's a burn the tape game. Move on. Arizona next week.
Matt's ugly is Daniel Jones' contract.
Not from the perspective
of exactly for him.
Disgusting act.
2-year contract, 2 years.
Sure. All right, let's move on to college football. And I did my best, guys. I did. That's all I can say about this week's slate of games is I did my best. Because
putrid.
This weekend slate not great. Now, next weekend on the other hand,
Bob.
Next weekend on the other hand, I'm gonna have a hard time just picking 4 games.
Yeah, that's true.
But this week's games
not great, Bob.
But we start mainly because it's an SEC game and we haven't talked about them yet this year, and really the question is going to be, can they beat the spread? I think is where we're at. But it is 1-1 South Carolina. They travel to number 1 Georgia, who's 2-0, a 27.5 home favorite. 54 is your over-under, in case you were wondering how little respect South Carolina is getting. This one Saturday, 3:30 Eastern time on CBS. EJ, I'll start with you.
I'm kind of tempted to take South Carolina the points, but screw all that. Georgia cover and give me an over.
All right, Kyle.
He's forgetting that they run the football in the SEC. I have all that, except I have the under.
I will go Georgia and I'm going to go under because South Carolina might score 3 and I'm not sure Georgia's scoring 51. So yeah, I'll go the slide under there. Matt has Georgia and the over. Next one we go to is 2-0 Minnesota at number 20 and 2-0 North Carolina, who is a 7.5 point home favorite. 50 is your over under. This one Saturday, 3:30 Eastern time as well, but this one, of course, on ESPN. Kyle, start with you.
Give me the spread again. I did not hear you say it.
I'm sorry, North Carolina 7.5 and 50 is the over under.
Okay, so yeah, I'm getting a touchdown if I pick North Carolina. Heck, I think they're going to win the game. I got the heels here, and of course, now that I'm picking an ACC team, surely they'll lose. But
yep,
I got that and an under.
All right, EJ.
Yeah, give me Carolina to cover. Well, give me under as well too.
What the F? Now I'm screwed.
Exactly.
Just because of that, I'll take Minnesota to cover 7.5, but I will take, I'm if they're going to do that, I'm going to take the under because they're going
We're like Minnesota.
Matt has North Carolina and the over. All right, we go to number 11, and that's too high. Tennessee, who is 2-0,
Thank
and
you.
a 6.5 point road favorite at Florida, who's 1-1. I picked this for you, EJ, because I know you love them so much. 57 is your over under on this one. Saturday, 7:00 on ESPN. EJ, I'll start with you.
You know what? I'll take 400 points here because they're at home.
Yeah, I bet you would.
Tennessee wins though. And I'll take an under on this one, actually. Slight under. Slightly.
Kyle.
Going against my instincts, I got Tennessee surely covering the points on the road just because I do not respect what's going on with Florida. I'm already selling out on Napier. I'm the problem, I guess. My bad. But I'm not.
I blame you.
Well, listen, it's the Utes that first made me believe in the first place, so I blame them. No, but the whole concept is this, gentlemen. EJ has the slight under. I see this being a score fest. I think two defense coming out sloppier than they should. I have the over.
Yeah, I like the over as well. Yeah, I don't want to be like EJ. Give me Tennessee to cover 6.5. Matt has Tennessee and the under. And then lastly, because
don't be rude,
because we said we would talk about them a little bit more. College game day, first time since I think they said 98 here. Once again, the eyes of college football on Boulder. We'll go 0-1 Colorado State, traveling to number 18 Colorado, who is 2-0. They are also a 23-point home favorite. 59 is your over-under in this one. Saturday, 10:00, ESPN. Kyle.
Listen, I'm all in for the Harry Buffalo. Let's do the thing, for sure. Covering all that other stuff.
She said,
only if she's lucky. And the fact that it involves a Pac-12 team means automatically we default to the over. And Jim continues to throw things as the media falls in love with what is easily the best story in college football. Which might accidentally bleed into my coverage as the Buffalo are headed into the Big 12.
There we go. So, EJ.
Yeah, give me Colorado to cover this. And I will take a slight under.
Wow, breaking the laws of physics and the universe in themselves.
Slight under.
I did it too. I picked an over for the SEC. So, I mean, you know.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Where do you find this shit, Jim? Jesus.
Hey, EJ, it's this magical thing called the internet.
Well, that involves research, which you know EJ does not do.
No.
He ain't lying.
He ain't lying.
Man, I guess the magic question is Nebraska better than Colorado State, right? Because
well, better at what specifically is the question, right?
Well, I guess at stopping Colorado or scoring points against Colorado. Because Colorado, I mean, they won by 22, right? This past week against Nebraska.
Colorado staggered because Nebraska had a better defensive line presence than TCU did, right? Can Colorado State match that? That's the reason why I'm going over is it's a Bishop Bullwinkle situation. Hell to the no. That's where I'm.
Yeah, I mean, I think the over is the absolute play here, and I think just in terms of against the spread is can Colorado State? I'm not saying keep up in the sense that keeping it close. I'm saying keep up in the sense as keeping it under 23.
Right.
It's like. So we had week one.
It's over anyway, according to EJ's.
Like we had week one. Everybody was telling Colorado all summer, "You stink. You're no good. You're gonna get boat. You're gonna get boat race. This and that." You had a lot of locker room material, right? Billboard material. Then you ride the high. You come back home. It's your first home game. It's sold out. Again, eyes are upon you. It's another noon game. You know, got a little rocky at first. But you recovered, you got the big win. Like now Now you're like last week against Nebraska, you were a 2-point favorite. This week, you're a 23-point favorite, right? Like all of a sudden, the script's gotten flipped on them. And you have a huge game next week and a huger game the following week.
Let's be fair and say a pair of huge games. Let's be clear.
Sure.
Both
well, I mean, no disrespect to Oregon, but I think that USC is the bigger game out of those.
Certainly the better team at the very least. I'll give
is that fair? Which, yeah, I guess, I mean, in terms of the game itself, I guess you could argue that Oregon is bigger because it's the first big Pac-12 matchup of the year. So there, you're fair. I'll say a pair of big games. So I think Colorado may get caught early, possibly looking ahead. They'll recover similar to like they did last week. I think it'll be enough that Colorado State covers the 23. Like, I don't think it is going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a close game, but I think it'll be a slight cover. So maybe just a 3-touchdown victory for Colorado. But yeah, I'm definitely taking the over on that one.
I see, but I got to think, not to say anything you said that was wrong, Jim, but I got to think Coach Prime's going to get in that ass a little bit after they came out flat. So
yeah, I mean, possibly, but again, this is going to be a night game, so it's a little different. Maybe it's a little bit different preparation. I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of moving parts.
So you're expecting Coach Dion to not deliver in a time of day that's literally named after him? I can't do that.
No, but not every player on his team is prime time, though. Just say, you know what I mean?
You know, the most important player on the field is literally his son. So there's that.
Sure, but there's a lot of other guys on that field though as well.
Yeah, this was just a very silly exchange. That's all.
Jim's trying to hate on him. Finally, hate on Dion. Leave Dion alone.
No, EJ, I said after they beat TCU that they would be 3-0 going into Oregon. So like,
you did say that. That's accurate.
You know what I mean? Like,
is that you loving on the Buffalo, or are you just hating on their weak schedule?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but when you're 1-11, the words weak schedule doesn't apply. Sorry, you're 1-11.
Well, no, when you play in the Pac-12, the word weak schedule does apply, and then people lose their mind. Yes,
still 1-11.
It still feels awkward. It still feels awkward to take shots at Joel Klatt, but I'm afraid I just did that. So there's that.
Yeah, leave a little homework on this episode, but you know what?
A little.
You were defending him.
A little.
No, but I understand it. I understand it.
I understand his excitement. I do. I get it. What he probably should have done is, before he started talking about Colorado this week, is he probably just should have said, look, reminded people, maybe they were listening for the first time or whatever, that he is an alumni of there and he is excited. Like, just preface it a little bit. Be like, I'm going to play Homer a little bit here.
The only issue I took of him on that was that, you know, Pac-12 being deepest conference in college football. Certainly right now is the most teams rank in the top 25, but that's going to shake out by 2-3 weeks from now. That's going to fucking lop off by the wayside. So,
moreover, to add to the bias in question, dude was literally wearing a Rose Bowl hat.
Was it? Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was the backwards
Premier Bowl game of the
conference. But again, here's the thing. I don't, and we'll see if it does change, but saying that it's the deepest conference in the sense that, like, maybe his argument from that aspect is that it has the most like good teams, but like how many great teams? You know what I mean? Like, because like there's been times where like, okay, well, like this division in NFL or NHL or any sport, like, you know, this division, this conference has a lot of good teams but no great teams. This conference has great teams but also has like terrible teams. Depending how you look at it, that conference with just a whole batch of good teams can feel deeper than the one that's like, yeah, there's 3 great teams, but there's like 9 shitty teams.
Which is why it's ridiculous.
It's like the Big Ten's not deep, okay?
Big Ten is not deep. Nobody brought up the Big Ten. I hear you.
But that's my point. The Big Ten has one great team, one that we're still not sure about, and one that's dramatically overrated. I'm looking at you, Penn State. But
my man,
and then it falls off a fucking cliff, right?
Well,
whereas like the Pac-12, at least right now, has there's a lot of good, and we know USC is really good, but then there's a lot of other pretty good in there. and it's just a matter of shaking it out. So they are deep in a sense.
If you want to have the conversation as to whether or not the Pac-12 is making an argument to surpass the Big Ten as the second best conference in college football, I'll listen to that. The deepest I can't. Teams need to be able to play a lot more defense before I sign that check.
That's fair, but I'm just in defense of the greatness of Joel Klatt, and somebody sent this clip to him. But in the defense of the greatness of Joel Klatt, like I think in a way that's kind of the point he's trying to make, is just like, look, there's a lot of good teams in that conference.
I think so. I just listen.
I think it's the way it was. The way it was worded wrapped in a lot of homerism, and I think that's where maybe the context got lost a little bit this week.
Maybe. And listen, I'll acknowledge that I'm the heretic attempting to question the great and mighty Joel Klatt, and rightly so.
And rightly so.
That's so much better than amen. I need to talk to the Pope.
All right, let's see. Matt has Colorado in the under there for that one.
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay,
that is going to do it for the it's their college football slate. All right, let's move to the National Football League. We are through week 1.
Oh, we're not going to talk about Notre Dame being overrated and being in the top 10, but hey, at least they're better than Tennessee in the rankings, so everything's okay.
When have I said that Notre Dame?
See, that's always.
I mean, like, what do you want me to say? Like, what do you want me to say, Kyle? I don't make the rankings, dude. Like,
no, it's a different alum that's in the committee later in the year. That's a factor. You're right.
Again, Notre Dame plays Ohio State next weekend. They play USC 2 weeks after that. If they win if they win those games, will you shut up?
If they win those games, buddy, that's a whole different conversation.
Okay. So,
Jim, if they win those games, they should be top 5.
Okay, thank you. Like, again, like I don't. They were probably too high to start. They were probably too high to start. It's not their fault that teams above them lost and pushed them up. Like,
I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen what money goes from their collective to the committee. I haven't. I
says the guy that hates preseason rankings.
You want to hear my side of the Notre Dame argument? My other bad, besides alleged coach of the year Brian Daboll leaving his stupid starters in a monsoon, was Notre Dame's performance for 3.5 quarters. Okay, Notre Dame played poorly for 3.5 quarters, and like the better team ended up winning. The better team ended up inflating that score,
right?
And it looked a lot better than it was. But there was a point. I mean, I was leaving the golf course and I'm texting my wife going, Notre Dame's in a fucking dogfight, in the early part of the fourth quarter, and I've seen this game get bad before.
Yeah. Well, Jim, listen, these things happen in conference games, man. I understand.
They're not in a conference game, Kyle. But my point is,
still doing that shit.
You can get away with that against North Carolina State,
right? You
could even get away with that this Saturday against Central Michigan.
I would even argue you could get away with that with Clemson this year.
Probably.
I didn't like that.
You know what I mean? But like, you can't get away with that next Saturday night when the Buckeyes come to town. You can't get away with that 3 weeks from now when Caleb Williams and company come to town.
That's accurate.
They have to clean this shit up, and that's why I said, and I think you took a slight shot at me on the Student of the Game report when I said that like Notre Dame has to clean shit up, because they do. They do. Sam Hartman, as good as he has been, and thank God Notre Dame has a quarterback for the first time in over a decade. But like the turnover in question when I texted my wife on Saturday that Notre Dame's in this dogfight was because he wasn't protecting the ball. A guy that's made 40-something career starts over the last 5+ seasons should not be putting a ball in a position to get popped out like the way it did.
Oh, I agree. And listen, I'm taking a shot at Notre Dame fans in general. Is just, of the ones that are on this panel, I take enough shots at EJ. And
1v1 in this panel. Thank you.
Matt isn't even around tonight, so you're what I got.
Yeah, but like, am I happy that Notre Dame's 3-0? Obviously. Am I happy that they have a quarterback? Obviously. But yeah, there's a lot of work to be done over the next 10, 11 days before the Buckeyes come to town and things get really real.
Hey, listen, not for nothing, man. All the trash I talk on your Irish and how ridiculous they get stuff man, for them beating the Buckeyes, I know that ruins my predictions and all that, but tear it up, man. Just please.
I need him to do that just so I don't have to hear about the green jerseys being bad luck.
Fair.
Because they're wearing green that weekend. But anyway, well, more on that next week.
All that later.
But let's go to the NFL. We start Thursday night in prime time on Prime Video. First Amazon game of the year. So we get to hear Al Michaels. Yay. We get to hear Kirk Herbstreit. Boo. But it is the Minnesota Vikings in prime time, buyer beware, at the Philadelphia Eagles. Vikings 0-1, Eagles 1-0. Eagles are a 7-point home favorite. 49 is your over-under on this one, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. Kyle, I'll start with you.
Listen, I'm not the degenerate at the table, but the proper way to bet this game is to not bet this humpy bumpy. Period. Point blank. End of story. Being said, I'll take you can keep the touchdown. I have the Eagles with the superior trench warfare to crush Kirk Coupons in a time slot where he is normally in trouble, whether Jim agrees or not. I'm kidding. Yeah. And I would say it does. I'll say it happens with the under.
All right, very good. EJ.
Definitely under. I like the under in that one, but I think this is bad for the Vikings here. Traveling on a short week, prime time for Kirk Cousins. Eagles need to bounce back. Even though they won this week and they didn't look all that great in New England, and I think this is the week they do it. Give me Eagles to cover 7 points really easily. Honestly, it should be a blowout. Honestly,
are you forgetting about your Patriots and like their defense being pretty good?
Yeah, no. Again, but Eagles need to bounce back, so they'll do it here.
Oh, okay. So you're agreeing with me? It sounds like.
Oh, absolutely. The Eagles will win the blowout.
Oh, okay. Carry on.
Yeah, I think the Eagles win big. They're the better team. They didn't look good in week one. Now, again, another factor, I talked about it when I talked about the stupid alleged coach of the year keeping his starters in the fourth quarter down 40. But there was terrible weather along the eastern seaboard this past weekend. I think that probably played a little bit of a factor even into that Eagles New England game, probably leveled the playing field for the Patriots a little bit. So I think the Eagles going to bounce back here. The jokes will continue to write themselves about Kirk Cousins in prime time.
Are they missing Dalvin Cook yet, guys? I thought he was just so unnecessary. I thought he was just too expensive. I mean, I did
allegedly,
yeah.
Eagles win here. I don't know if I'm going to take an under.
The correct advice is to not bet that. But
if you're debating this hard, don't bet it. But
I feel good about the Eagles covering. Honestly,
I feel good about the Eagles covering. I don't feel good about the over under, even though I'm predicting the under. Matt has the Eagles
Homer
and the over. All right, then we go to Sunday. Like Devin had the Eagles and the over in the comments. Let's see. We go to Sunday, 1:00 Eastern time on CBS. A big game in the NFC North. It is the 1-0 Ravens at the 0-1 Bengals. Still licking their wounds from this past Sunday. The Bengals still, though, a 3.5 point home favorite. 46.5 is your over under on this one. EJ.
Yeah, Ravens won. They won. They covered on Sunday against Houston. Houston maybe a little better we thought this year. I know Kyle mentioned that.
I keep trying to
saying that a little better we thought.
In the bottom five is an absolute travesty, and this week shook that out, I think. But
since he needs to bounce back in a big way, they'll bounce back here. Give me Bengals to win. Bengals cover slightly. 3.5 points is right on the nose of this rivalry. They win by 6 points.
If I call a push, do I get 2 points? Like that could happen here.
Can you push 3.5?
Yeah, give me Bengals to cover slight 3.5 points.
Explain the math on that one.
I thought it was just 3. I didn't hear the half.
Yeah, sorry, 3.5.
Give me a way under actually on that. I think it's gonna be a slobber knocker.
A way under.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Kyle.
Why are the Bengals going to bounce back necessarily? Because what was the biggest problem in that football game?
The Bengals game?
Yeah. Their O-line was exposed like Janet Jackson in a halftime show.
There it was.
Now, you're welcome. The whole right? Now, the question you have to ask is, can the Ravens do that? Now, am I stalling? Well, I'm trying to decide if I think that's the case. You're entirely correct. But yeah, what they're saying is these teams are even matched, and that since he has home field, that's why you get the +3.5. I understand all that as much of a degenerate as I am not. Don't ever bet this goddamn game. What are you thinking? But I think whoever's going to win is going to do it by a touchdown. So you either I can't vote against Lamar Demetrius Jackson yet. Zay Flowers is coming up like a badass.
He looked good. He looked
good. And at this point,
Beckham didn't get hurt, so
yeah, exactly. Old Bones is still in the game. For my money, if any element, if teams are forced to run the football in this game, the Ravens will obviously win unquestionably.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that'll happen, but either way, I'm feeling the under in this game because reasons. This is probably one I get wrong, but I'll take the Ravens.
Not to swing you one way or the other. I think if the Ravens win, it's going to be because they're going to control that ground game, control that clock. I think that plays into the under. If you start getting into a shootout, I like the Bengals' chances at that point.
Right, and I just don't see a shootout happening here. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. That's not the nature of this rivalry. That's not the nature of of this division.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think there's still some. It's what we were talking about with the preseason and the early part of the season. It's these first couple weeks, like they added the extra week of the regular season, but there's still time for teams to figure it out. I know Dan Patrick was talking about this yesterday. You look last year, the Bears were 1-0. They ended up with the number 1 pick. The Niners started off 0-1. The Chiefs started off
0-2, homie.
The Chiefs had a rocky start. Like a bad start can be corrected over the next 15
Joey Burr, I think, went 0-2 last year. Yeah.
So Bengals fans, don't panic. Don't panic when you end up 0-2. Don't panic when you end up 0-2, because I, like Kyle, I'm going to take the Ravens to win. I'm going to take the under as well, because I think it's going to be it's a vintage NFC North battle here.
AFC North, buddy.
AFC North battle here. I like the Ravens in that one.
By the way, it's only week 2. There's no such thing as a fucking must win, EJ.
It wasn't week 1 though, but okay.
No. And I tried, EJ. I tried to give you the opportunity to almost make it okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Because in our text group, I asked you, is it a must win for the Bills? And you said no. Okay.
That's how you can argue it.
No, the math doesn't math.
Don't do math.
If it doesn't,
Don't do math.
the math doesn't work. If it's a must win for the Jets, it's a must win for the Bills. And I'm going to argue that if it is a quote unquote must win in week 1, that the minute Aaron Rodgers got hurt and the Bills lost that game, it became more hurtful to them than it would have been for the Jets to lose.
1,000,000,000%.
That is going to hurt the Bills more than a loss to the Bills would have been to the Jets.
Excuse me, Jim. Is a good way to summarize your point to say that you tried to tell him, but he wouldn't listen?
Yeah, you know what? I think we have. Yeah,
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
You're welcome.
Come on, man. Must win in week 1. Shut up.
I said what I said, okay?
And you were wrong.
Just stand there in your wrongness and be wrong and get used to it.
All right.
Perfect. This is why you're a great producer, Jim.
Devin has the Bengals and the under. Matt
That's
has
a good bet.
That
the
is
Bengals and the
That's a
under.
great bet. I actually bet that this week in my parlay.
Under's smart. Well,
The under anyway.
In that case, bet the over. The 0 or the 1-0.
Really, dude?
I was looking at the wrong. I was looking at the wrong line. The 1-0 New York Jets. The Zach Wilson redemption tour. Go head south for the weekend. They travel to 1-0 Dallas. I had this game on before what happened last night happened. Okay. When I first pulled this game, the Cowboys were a 3.5 point favorite.
Uh-oh.
This morning, the Cowboys were a 7-point favorite. And then the news was confirmed, even though we all knew what the news was going to be. The Cowboys are now an 8.5 point home favorite.
Ooh, 9.5 now here.
I was about to say that shit could
It's
get
ballooning. It's ballooning.
Well,
9.5 now.
I have it as 8.5.
Okay.
Because I don't know what site you're using. I go off of the sites that I go off of. But it is a Cowboys 8.5. This line also went from like 47 to now 39.5 is your over under.
I'll say this though, Jim, real quick, because the app I use has like 9 different sites. All of them have 9.5 across the board. All of them.
Great. We're still using 8.5, right, Jim?
We are still using.
It's like, you know, I'm not telling you where they're at right now currently.
Yeah, and here's the deal: we're here on Tuesday. This thing is probably going to continue to move,
right?
By the time we get to Sunday.
To your point, yeah.
So plan accordingly. But yeah, Cowboys 8.5 favorite. 39.5 is your over under Sunday. 425 on CBS. EJ, I'll start with you.
I mean, Dallas has. I mean, it's got to be Dallas. Give me Cowboys to cover 8.5, 10.5, 11.5. Doesn't give a fuck. It's the same thing. The cover in a game. I'll take the under though on this actually.
An under on 39.
Yeah. I could see a 27-10.
EJ, you know the Cowboys just scored 40 this past weekend.
Yeah,
right?
but
sorry, I had to say it one more time.
Yeah, but a lot of us also defensive touchdowns.
I know. I just had to say it one more time.
And you don't think that's going to happen here?
You get a little rush to the mean. A little rush to the mean. So.
And
I see a blowout. I just see something close to 34-10, you know, something like that.
I'll tell you, man, to your credit, and again, as the non-degenerate, you know, if you have 8.5, knowing it'll probably get over 10, you take it, you know? So yeah, obviously give me give me your team here, fellas.
Stop that.
God, you're kind of convincing me, but I'm not brave enough to do it. I need the over. It's just begging me too hard. You know, all it takes is for Micah Parsons to go absolutely ape shit, which he's prone to do. All it takes is for Riptide Rush. Sorry, Dakota Prescott. Both of them, really, because if it's that much of a blowout, Dakota will come out.
I'll say Riptide came into the game because the Cowboys head coach is smarter than the Giants head coach. So,
oh, you mean alleged coach of the year candidate Brian Daboll?
I mean, no, the winner actually.
Allegedly, yes.
AP coach of the year, yeah, that one.
Make sure you say AP because smarter forces.
Well, the media gets things wrong.
I'm not saying you don't, but hey, it is what it is.
You know, the media never gets things wrong, right? You just watch Fox News. Anyways, woo! Zinger on that one, gentlemen. I made him choke his water.
That was good.
No, but yeah, I just can't take the under on 39. I can't do it. I don't know why.
I don't blame you.
I think I have more faith in Breece Hall and the running back situation there. Yeah.
To your point though, Kyle, I'd be afraid too because of the fact that the Cowboys offense, like we didn't get enough to see enough of the offense on Sunday because they didn't really have to do much, you know. So this is the first time we're going to see the Cowboys offense. I would assume as a full.
I'm hoping Jake Ferguson finds his hands by the time Sunday rolls around. That would be nice. Or any of the Cowboys tight ends would find their hands before Sunday. But that's just my hope, you know.
No one's calling for Jason Witten to come out of retirement.
I'm just a simple man with simple dream. You know what? Where's his old bones at? Let's get him back out there. He may be slow as fuck, but at least he has hands. Christ. Like, I want to just take Cowboys plus, but like again, this is me just not trusting. You know, we talk about this, right? We talk about
it's about
hubba, 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 money, money, money. Who do you trust?
But this means you're trusting Zach Wilson. Listen, if you're doing that years ago, I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
But the funny thing is, like, I committed to being very high on the Jets before what happened last night happened. Now I'm almost like feeling like I want to like steer into just the joke of the Zach Wilson redemption tour.
I don't blame you.
I'm all in.
Here's the thing. I think the Jets are going to be fine. I still think the Jets can and certainly I don't want to I'm not going to guarantee will, but I'll say will make the playoffs. Because again,
that's a hot take.
It just
No. Wait, stop. No. There's nothing hot take about that.
Just don't turn the ball over, man. Just be smart enough to not turn the ball over. And there was a couple times last night where he got into trouble and he threw the ball away. And it was okay, maybe you're getting it a little bit. Maybe you're getting it just a little bit. You don't have to try to force the ball in there, looking at you, Josh Allen. But I'm just saying you don't have to force the ball in just because. So I think the Jets will be fine. I think they end up still making the playoffs. I didn't have them winning the division. I had the Bills winning the division.
I thought you said the Cowboys were a lock for the playoffs. You're saying the Jets are still a lock for the playoffs.
I saw the Jets going to the playoffs.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying. That's all I was saying. Hot take.
I completely misheard that. That's how hot a take it was. I didn't realize how much ayahuasca was in your studio. Jesus.
Well, there we go. I sound the alarm for myself.
Jim, this is new territory for you with hot take stuff, man. I am not used to this.
I mean, I just use them accordingly. I'm not like EJ just throwing them around like they're going out of business.
I know you're not the towering inferno. I get it.
But here in this one, I'm going to take the Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys to cover 8.5. And I think the Jets will score points, but I also think there's potential to be defensive scoring on both sides of this ball, on both sides of this game as well. So because of that, I'm going to take the over. I don't think the Cowboys are going to come out here offensively and drop 40. Okay, that's not going to happen against a New York team back-to-back weeks.
Not in that defense.
Cowboys put up 40 against the Giants this past week. In case nobody paid attention and saw that, the Cowboys put up 40 against the New York Football Giants on Sunday night in MetLife. They put up 40 against the Giants.
No, that would be really humiliating for somebody.
I know it's a really good thing we don't have any Giants fans on this panel. Yes. Okay.
Well, that's a Jets fan, DJ.
Long and short of it, Cowboys plus and the over. Devin has Cowboys in the over as well. Matt,
you're a bad man, Jim.
Hey, listen, I'm a little hurt. EJ flicking off the camera and me saying that's a Jets fan was a clever retort, and you motherfuckers missed it.
I'm sorry. Matt has Cowboys and the under. And then lastly, we go to Monday Night Football. Now, this is the Monday night doubleheader. There's a game on ESPN, and then there's this game, which is on ABC and ESPN Plus.
Is it still a doubleheader if the games are competing with one another?
It's a simulcast. I guess I don't. How does It's whatever.
I'm just asking. Yeah,
You're right. It's
You're right, Kyle.
Monday night competition. The Monday Night Wars. There you go, wrestling fans.
Nice.
Monday night, 8:15 Eastern Time, ABC, ESPN Plus. It is the 1-0 Browns, who are a 2.5-point road favorite at 0-1 Pittsburgh. This game also 39.5 is your over under. Kyle, I'll start with you.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this up front. You all are wrestling people. This is going to be Monday Night Raw, and take the goddamn under. I don't care. First of all, don't bet it, but also take the goddamn under. Holy shnikes. And this isn't me going after Kenny Pickett, as everybody's currently doing right now, because the back-to-back buzzsaw you are facing in defensive lines is absolutely freaking stupid. No quarterback should be asked to do this, and yet here we are. Welcome to life in the AFC North. Unless you happen to also be playing an NFC West team. Anyways, punchline being, you said 3.5, Jim?
I did. 2.5. 2.5. Sorry.
2.5. That tracks. Give me the Browns. It feels weird. Give me the Browns, and I'll take the under.
All right, EJ.
I would argue the under is the bet of the week. I love this under. I bet it.
Bet the over then. Bet the over then. Bet the over then.
So
no.
Okay, your math isn't mathing, buddy. That's the problem.
I love that, dude. This is going to be a slobber knocker.
Yeah, Monday Night Raw, folks.
Yeah.
You're welcome, wrestling fans.
I'll take Pittsburgh because I have to have them make the playoffs this year, and then it can go 0-2. We get Pittsburgh.
I mean, you
outright.
can and still make the playoffs, but whatever.
I'm just saying. Oh, but
It's not a must-win, EJ.
I'm just saying that conference though. Although one team now is probably compromised because Aaron Rodgers being gone, but give me Pittsburgh to win this game. But the under, I love the under here. I see like 16-10 game here. Honestly, that's where I'm at.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the under is a smart play. Like I said, EJ said it's the bet of the week, so
take the over.
You know what to do. You know what to do. Yeah, I think Cleveland's going to improve to 2-0 here. I think the Steelers are going to fall to 0-2. I think the Steelers are still trying to figure out what the hell hit them, what bus just hit them this past week, and they're still going to be figuring it out.
It's the coach that should be fired, right, along with the GM.
Can we call them frisky Browns after this week if they go 2-0? Because they're that team that's not people not putting in the playoffs, but 2-0, and all of a sudden this team is
because
there's too many people already picking them and thinking that they're going to be this turnaround story.
And the Browns beating the Bengals, regardless of how good or bad one of the teams is something that if you look at recent history of that rivalry is a thing that happens. Okay,
that's why I picked them last week.
Right. So I'm not ready to sign off on them. I mean, the Browns and Steelers, you kind of throw the record book out the window as well. Over the course of history. I mean, look, you got to go back into ancient history, but the last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl, they went 12-4 in the regular season, and 2 of those 4 losses were to 4-12 Washington. Okay, like. I know it's cliche and it's just one of those things that people who talk about football and talk about rivalries do. But sometimes in these rivalry games, it doesn't make sense. So like the Browns moving to 2-0, I'm not ready to sign off on them being the F word or whatever other description you want to list them as.
I mean, the Lions have put themselves forth as frisky. We'll leave it at that.
No, not anymore. They're risky now.
Stop it. No.
That's what Jim said last week.
No.
I didn't say that. You put that on me.
You co-signed, buddy. You co-signed.
They're frisky. Shut up.
You can't be if you're the favorite of division.
If you keep this up, I'm not going to dance.
Oh, why you got to punish me because he's a jerk?
I don't know. Maybe mute him so we can make it to the.
God damn, EJ. All right. Matt has the Steelers and the under. Devin has the Steelers and the under as well. Yeah. Regardless of who you're picking to cover the spread and win this game, under.
Correct.
Under again. EJ said it's basically the lock, so take the over.
Under. Yes. That's why EJ's pointing at his junk.
Dicks.
Wow.
Well, of him pointing at his junk and then he screams.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yep, that's
you caught that, didn't you?
Caught it. Never mind. I could have said something, but it would sound bad.
Yeah, that could have been real bad. So let's just go to this.
I think he's wired than you.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's our favorite segment. It's the one where one of these times myself or Kyle or Matt is going to throw our shoulder out dunking on EJ.
Or my son.
Or your son.
Family at risk, EJ. That's not nice.
But nonetheless, here we are. Now, Kyle, again, as we remind everybody, for those watching on the video side, on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, there's a graphic to go along with this. It is EJ's top 10 and bottom 5 power rankings of the week. So as hard as it is to look to the other side or to not look at the other side, let's just look at the bottom 5. EJ, what is your bottom 5?
Bottom 5, 20-32. Here we go. 28 the Rams, 29 the Raiders.
You're so wrong already. How
30 the Texans.
How? No, stop.
That's a misprint. That's a misprint, do I think?
I hope so.
Is it?
The Raiders part, no. They're not in the bottom 5. No, they're not in the bottom 5. Hold on. That might be a misprint. Hold on a second, guys. No, because they won this weekend, too.
You know what? That's my bad. That's my bad. Hold on.
Thank God.
That was last week.
That was, yeah. That
29th the Colts. No, 28 is the Panthers. 29th the Colts. 30 the Texans, 31 the Bears, 32 the Cardinals. That's the actual.
Well, you're moving them too slowly, but at least they're going in the right direction. By the way, the Commanders need to be in the bottom 5. I don't care if they won the fucking football game.
In fact, hold on. In fact, this is the wrong list, Mr. Jim. The entire thing is wrong. This is the wrong list. This is last week's list. This is last week's list. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me.
I knew that was weird.
All right, let me get this off the screen.
Sorry, folks at home.
Hey, what about my heart palpitations? Wondering if you've reached a new low. Good.
I'm like, I know I say silly shit, but the Raiders' bottom 5 is not something that silly. You know, so I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, no, like you're I mean, the Cardinals were obviously correct. You like even Pro Football Focus got that one right.
Yeah.
And I wasn't here to comment this week while Jim, makes the adjustment. Well, I wasn't here to comment last week that you're just entirely too low on the Texans and the Colts. Yep. Like this is up there with Ab Stanley putting the Jags at 31 last year.
No,
like
they didn't move. They didn't move at all.
Who didn't move?
Texas stayed where they were last week.
Okay, then you're wrong. You're fundamentally wrong. And
no. We'll break it down. Just until as Jim goes up here, 28 Panthers, 29 Colts, 30 Texans, 31 Bears, 32 Cardinals.
No,
go ahead.
No,
it's okay. Go ahead. Okay.
What are you?
I live for this every Tuesday.
First of all, how are your Giants not in the bottom?
They were almost there.
No, almost.
I consider it
40-0 bombing, and they're not in the bottom 5.
I expect a improvement this week. If they lose the Cardinals this week, they're probably gonna be number 32 next week. Just saying. So there it is. So there it is. There. All right.
Why are they not 28?
Wrong.
When I initially did this list on Sunday night, they were number 28 actually. Or 29 actually.
So what how did the Panthers go to 28 then? The Panthers didn't play last night to show you they were worse.
I actually watched more of the highlights of the game. Look, the Giants are bad also too, but I think
for
the Giants to go from like what probably top 16 to like all the way down to that's a massive drop.
So here's the thing. Right. when I'm looking at them,
right,
is when you make the preseason one, you're basing it off of
a lot of things,
conjecture from the year before, like
right.
what happened the year before and what you think is going to happen now.
Right.
Okay.
A lot of that plays
the problem with preseason polls in college football, right?
Right.
Because there's no actual landmark. Now we have 1 week of actual landmark.
I think Dallas.
The Giants arguably were the worst team on Sunday.
No, arguably right, but I think a lot of that on Sunday had more to do with Dallas, how good Dallas is, honestly. Okay. Bad game for the Giants. Like I said,
okay, past 20 or 25 to nothing, then maybe I'm hearing that. 40.
Right. They're not a 40 yet. I need a larger sample size of a playoff team last year. That won a playoff game last year too. Before I start I care. My rankings.
You're wrong.
Well, that's what you're here to tell me. You're wrong. All right.
I got to give him this much credit, Jim.
Okay.
For the first time in his entire life, this is the most Giants homer thing he's done.
That's fair.
Again, if they lose the Cardinals this week, though. Because
what
about the Cowboys? That's all I say about that. So again, to listeners, 28 Panthers, 29 Colts, 30 Texans, 31 Bears.
Because I have on mine, I have the Cardinals at 32, but I have the Giants at 31.
Okay.
Where are the Vikings?
Like I said, I think the Vikings are better than both these teams. So again,
asinine. Okay.
I think asinine is a little bit of a strong word because I mean
no, it's really not. Though.
The only thing I could take out here, well, I don't know. If I were to change one thing on this list here, honestly, I might move the Colts up one spot. That's it.
The Colts shouldn't be in the bottom 5.
Agreed.
Okay. The Colts should not be in the bottom 5.
And here's one thing I'll say, like, even though ultimately I don't think they belong or will be in the bottom 5, if you're going off of 1 week sample just on what we saw on Sunday, regardless of who they were playing, I think there's a better argument for the Steelers in the bottom 5 from what we saw than the Colts.
But again, much like the same way
I know where he's going with that. Yeah,
right.
It's gonna be the fact that the Niners are that good more than the Steelers are that bad.
It's the same play with the Giants and the Cowboys game. It's more about the Dallas
You still
Cowboys.
haven't explained adequately Minnesota. You still haven't explained adequately.
Okay, I'll tell you now. I'll tell you right now. I have a hard time putting playoff teams last year in just 1 week sample
But
into the bottom 5 immediately.
They've gotten rid of significant pieces of their offense.
They still have the quarterback. Still have the quarterback in play.
Oh, you mean the guy that's known for being a choke artist?
No, in prime time, yeah. In prime time.
In just prime time, huh? Okay, cool. Whatever. You still haven't explained past why the Titans are safe from this conversation, because the Colts sure as hell had better quarterback play than the Titans, but we don't have to talk about that. You know, that would be intelligence. Where are the Seahawks? Everything that we hear about, what did they do last year? If the Seahawks aren't here, I found a hole.
How many teams do you take out of this bottom 5? Obviously, the Colts out. Who else take out of the bottom 5 out of here?
The Panthers do not belong in the bottom 5. The Texans do not belong in the bottom 5. The Colts do not belong in the bottom 5.
So 3 teams.
I've given you 3 teams.
Okay, 3 teams. Okay. You're
Actually,
wrong, but anyway.
4, but
who the 4 did? The Bears?
The Giants?
No.
The team. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The teams you're asking for teams that should be in the bottom 5 ahead of the Panthers, Colts, and Texans, correct?
Yeah.
Now the Panthers may still find their way back, but they didn't show me enough to think that they were in the bottom 5 yet. You know.
Also, okay, go ahead.
No, fire away.
Also worth noting, last week I had 3 teams. 3 of the teams that were in the bottom 5 last week are still in here now. So yeah.
Yeah, which is why we're showing the consistency of your trash. Shall we continue? Anyways, the Vikings.
This is boring.
This is boring.
The bottom 5 is boring. I wait for the top 10.
All right, go ahead.
That's why.
Now
there you go.
I've mentioned the teams I should go in the bottom 5 ahead of the ones that I have beef with. I think the Bears are fine at 31. I got no problem with that. I wouldn't put them there. I think the Giants belong there. But the Bears at 31 is not a problem.
This real quick, my logic on the Giants, because I mean, there's because of the fact that playoff and the Seahawks too. Let's agree. Playoff teams last year. Let's see more.
Some of us didn't need to. Some of us picked these teams.
Yeah, but that's all right. But this is my rankings. That's right. So cool. Anyway, 10-1. Here we go. Number 10, the Jets. 9 Ravens. 8 Lions. 7 Jaguars. 6 Dolphins. 5 Bengals. 4 Eagles. 3 Cowboys. 2 Chiefs. 1 is Kyle's Niners, baby.
By the way, you have stolen swag from your team because you're that fucking predictable. Because if you listen to the Student of the Game report, bing,
yes.
I said if you would put the 49, if you did not pick the 49ers at the top, that I would buy swag, another piece of Student of the Game swag for your family. And now you stole it from them. So I'll make sure to text
but as you know, though, and I admitted on the show, I already sent in the list to Jim before.
Yeah, exactly.
There, so
right. That's why we made the bet, is because it was already, he's not that big an a-hole. So let's keep going.
So you want me to my explanation with some of these things first before we go?
No, go ahead.
So real quick, I know a lot of people at home are going to say, why the Jets 10 to Aaron Rodgers?
Because it's
the Jets are on a holding pattern right now for me. I want to see exactly what they do with Zach Wilson, because and to your point, also Kyle, you actually like this. Their defense actually was so impressive that maybe that's the thing that might make Jim's prediction come true here, and that the Jets may actually still be a playoff team despite not having Q-Aaron.
That's enough to make them the 10th best team in the league, buddy.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, remember they didn't win last night. They also fell down 4 spots anyway, despite that. So it's not like they got points for that. They were actually number 6 or 7 last week, going into week 1. So they actually still lost. So they're kind of in a holding pattern. I want to see next week as Dallas if they win the damn game, crying out loud.
I can make a better case. No, I can't.
That's all it did for us. It's more of a holding pattern. More of a respect from what it did last night. I thought last night, despite all everything that happened last night, I thought what they did last night was actually kind of impressive, considering the fact that they played a Buffalo team that many people believe they're still best division. That the Bills should have ran with that game, never did. They stuck around and they won in overtime. So I gotta give some credit there, some degree. Holding pattern, that's all it is. Let me see here. I'm not gonna panic on the Chiefs.
You should.
You don't have Kelsey. You don't have the defensive tackle Chris
Jones.
Chris Jones, thank you. He's back now. And even with all the errors in that game, they almost won the game. People forget that. So I'm playing with that.
Right. The Chiefs aren't the issue there. 1 point game. Blah blah blah. Get it. The The Cowboys, as always, a little bit overhyped there.
But
they're
again,
playing the
impressive.
31st worst ranked team in the league,
Allegedly.
actually. And
Allegedly.
yeah,
I have the for the record, I have the Cowboys at 5 on mine.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You're also playing it safe. I get you, Jim. It's
but
all right.
also okay. So here's
I have the Dolphins at 2 if you want to talk about now.
Whoa,
Jesus
really?
Christ.
So does Coward, though, to be fair, and Florio.
Okay, if you're going to Pro Football Focus, that doesn't improve your credibility. Okay, what you just said is, hey, I have this presidential candidate, and Sean Hannity said it too, so I must be right. You can't do that, EJ. That doesn't help your credibility.
I don't have him too.
No, he's saying that Cowherd and Florio have the Dolphins at 2.
Yeah, Florio's Pro
EJ
Football
doesn't
Focus.
have them at 2 for the record.
6 is still weird, but that's not even the Dolphins aren't what I'm questioning. And
But
honestly,
again, Kyle, you also have to understand, I am making my list off of 1 week sample size.
right.
EJ's basing his off of
nothing.
how he had them ranked last week, what he thinks they're going to do, what they did last year, how their mom's cooking is,
injuries,
how great their fan base is, and what their colors look like under stadium lighting.
If
So
cooking's a factor, the Saints should be in the top 10 every fucking week.
so yeah, my list gets structured a lot differently than his does.
Fine, but listen, I'm not as mad at the Dolphins at 2, believe it or not. Here's where you got some. The Lions beat your number 2 team, and they're only 8th.
Number 1. Well, yeah.
Okay, so there's that. The Bengals lost in humiliating fashion, and they're 5th. What in the entire fuck?
Okay, I don't have the Bengals in my top 10 at all.
Want me to explain this to you?
You can always try. You could
okay.
Try.
Okay, so the Lions, I still feel like even with it was impressive winning in Kansas City last week, yes. It did feel like Kansas City lost that game, though. Again, the drops, the whole 9. It felt like this is why I'm not panicking on KC. I want to reward Detroit still for the win in Arrowhead, but also acknowledging KC not a panic move either. So you got to give them credit for all.
You put them behind a team that lost.
The Bengals, same situation with who lost in the top 10 here. Also, that the Chiefs. Also, I'm not going to overreact to the Bengals too. Also, because I believe. I told you in the podcast. Also, to the Bengals, use week 1, week 2 as a tune-up. I want to see more.
Doesn't mean you
That's fine. Don't put them in your top 10, or at least
they fell on the rankings though. They fell on the rankings, so they got penalized. For the record,
did they? This is what a slap in the wrist looks like, buddy. Shit.
They went down 2 spots.
Remember a couple years ago when Urban Meyer would suspend players for a quarter for doing something really wrong? That's what you're doing to the Bengals.
I think what you see here too with me in my rankings, and I'm sure you know about this now, is that a lot of teams who have earned trust through the years get a little more leash. You saw 2 years ago the Chiefs. They got a lot of leash from me for a long time because of what they've done through the years. Niners have that same
trust. The Lions are 9-2 in their last 11.
Cool.
Put them higher.
Cool. Bitch. Do it again next week.
Do it again. They're already 9-2.
It was play last year. Cool. Next question.
Wow, really? That's your answer?
That matters to me also too. It matters to me also too.
If you make the tournament last year, matters in this year's top 10.
To agree, it does. Yeah. If you have the same team, yeah.
Stupid.
If you have the same core, yeah. Absolutely.
There was also a lot of people that after week 6 or 7 last year were burying the Lions because there was hype going into last season. They had a rocky start, and everybody was like, see, look, the Lions are hot garbage. And then they rattled off a bunch. Now, yes, they had a slip up game in Carolina, but again, they're 9-2 in their last 11, and they just beat the Super Bowl champions.
But you act like this is a penalty to the Lions.
You're focused on the wrong thing, though. The Bengals are still better than 5. Well, I don't know that the Jets outperformed them necessarily, but then 5 teams.
You're not going to tell me that the Lions are better than Bengals. This football team right now.
I have a shot to believe that. Because if they take advantage of that garbage-ass offensive line in the same fashion that the Browns did, which in your defense, I don't know that they're capable of doing or not, but that's not the way you pose this. You've never posed this that, hey, if this team plays this team, they're going to win. I could tear that apart here.
It plays to a degree.
Here, I'll go one better. If the Lions play the Bengals this week, give me the Lions because, as EJ has so aptly pointed out, the Bengals use these first couple weeks as tune-ups.
Boom.
Give me the Lions, who are rolling 9-2 in their last 11 over the Bengals, licking their wounds over getting pistol whipped by the Browns and still trying to figure shit out in week 2. So yeah, I'll take the Lions over the Bengals.
The Browns, as bad as they've been the last couple of years, haven't given the Bengals issues. Like I said, when they're like 1-6 in the last 3 years.
Okay, wait,
it's a weird matchup though.
Why do they get that grace and then 9-2 doesn't do a goddamn thing?
So by your logic, then the Browns should be in the top 10 now too. Also,
I have the Browns at 10 for
oh my god, you do. Interesting.
If the Bengals were one of the 2 best teams in the AFC. And in 1 week sample size, and for me, that's these first couple weeks are the most volatile because there's going to be a lot of up and down. There's going to be a lot of moving on the Richter scale. But if the Bengals are one of the 2 best teams in the AFC, which I'm pretty sure we all kind of agree, I think we all have the Bengals winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
right. Okay, go to the simulcast. We all have the Bengals. So if the Browns come out and kick their fucking teeth in, then yeah, that's a top 10 performance for me.
We sit there and complain about how people overreact to week 1, and you guys are literally doing the same damn thing right now on this podcast.
What do you mean literally? There's nothing literal about it. They need to fix.
I'm not sitting here saying the Browns are going to go to the playoffs and contend for the AFC. I'm saying in terms of a power ranking, because that's what a power ranking is, especially week 1 for me. Again, this is how you talk about, well, this is your list. This is my list. I can go by 1 week. The 2023-2024 NFL season is 1 week old. And to me, the Cleveland Browns had a top 10 performance based on what they did to Cincinnati last week.
So, Jim, you have what is your 10? I don't
know.
What's
your top 10? What's your 10?
Let me pull it up here quick. So I have the Browns. I have the Browns at 10. I have the Jets at 9. I have the Ravens at 8. Jaguars 7. Lions 6. Cowboys 5. Eagles 4. Chiefs 3. Dolphins 2. Niners 1.
You're just harder than me.
Because it's hard for me to bang the Jets down because the defense does look like.
But you gave me shit to start the segment with the Jets at 10 when he has them higher than I do.
No, I backed off on that. Okay. What I resaid was my biggest beef is the Bengals in the top 10. That's unacceptable.
Which I don't have.
Okay. And the Lions are too low, which Jim repairs.
I have them higher.
What I'm trying to tell you is that Jim is thoroughly dunked on your bald head.
No issue with Eagles being down 2 spots despite winning this week?
No, I can see why you did it. I know that Matt would probably complain because he's a homer, but about
Homer,
a team that's losing, being ranked ahead of the Eagles, such as they were. But Chris Jones is confirmed back. By the way, spoiler alert: if you watch the Student the Game podcast tomorrow night, that will be streaming right here on the Huddle Up YouTube channel. There'll be a high likelihood I pick against the Jaguars in that. I haven't decided yet, but man, it's going to be a factor.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, so I just I'll give you this much credit, EJ. Your bottom 5's way worse than your top 10, but the single biggest crime is easily the Bengals.
I'm shocked you guys are shitting on the Bengals as you are. I'm really surprised.
I get that bad.
No, I know, but again,
whooped.
But listen, hey, I'll give you this though, EJ. I give you this. There's a high likelihood that they'll crawl back into the top 10 in week 3 because by then, to your point, they would have figured it out and looked like a top team.
And I expect it to happen.
The Bengals in the long run are going to be fine. And like that's the difference between like power rankings versus predictions. Is that those are 2 separate globes that you're looking at, and especially after 1 week.
But I know everybody that does rankings, they always weigh in what they think is going to happen. If they still feel good about 18 despite a slow start, well, I mean, if by that logic, then every single Chiefs should be here either end.
I have a feeling they'll lose against the Steelers too next week. That's something that can happen.
I mean, here's the thing: if you want to base at least a starting point, right? Like if you want to, like you have your top 32 theoretically speaking before the season starts or whatever. Like if that's your starting point, that's fine. But like basing power rankings on how you think a team is going to do in the future, I think you're doing it wrong, because a power ranking is based on what we have seen and what we know. Now, you want to predict differently. If you want to like, you're kind of having the Bengals at 5 because they're going to be fine. They're going to be one of the best teams in the conference. That's a prediction. That's not a power ranking.
You know what's funny? Last year when I did this, because last year when Bengals lost early in the year, I did penalize them a little bit, and I got shit for that.
But it wasn't a dominant a game where they got obviously crushed. Joe Burrow was still fresh off of the surgery, just like he was off that injury. And what the Steelers had to pull out of their ass to win in overtime is not the same as getting mollywopped by the fucking Browns by 3 touchdowns, buddy. It's not.
I get it. I mean, like I said, they were down 2 spots. I get it.
I'm wrong. Yeah, okay.
I like. This is an opinion. It has nothing to do with right or wrong here. You know?
In fact, of course.
You know, but what was that?
I said you're still wrong.
I love you, EJ.
All right.
Hey, it's your fault you're not getting more swag. I'm just saying.
Well, Niners right. I mean, Niners number 1 is absolutely correct.
Yeah, Niners are 1. I don't like. If you're debating that off, because here's the thing, regardless of how you feel about the Steelers, that was, I mean, like the Cowboys, if you look at 40-0 and 40-0 only, you might go, well, that's more dominant. I think what the Niners did to the Steelers, who I think there's a prevailing belief, are or will be a better team than the Giants. You know, what the Niners did to them is more impressive than what the Cowboys did to the Giants. Okay? Because let's be fair. The blocked kick return for a touchdown, that don't happen every day. The, hitting Barkley and the ball miracles itself into the hands of a Cowboys defensive back with nobody in front of him, that doesn't happen every day, right? So like the 14 of those 40 points were to a degree luck. Now, there's no guarantee the Cowboys wouldn't have gone down and scored, but there's also no guarantee that they would have gone down and scored touchdowns. So those 14 could have easily become 6, and then what? It's 32 or 30, or it could have been a much different score. It could have been a smaller margin of victory for Dallas, but. So I think what the Niners did is certainly more impressive. So that's why the Niners are 1, and I think that's fine.
At the end of the day, it comes down to who was a better hunter. Did you trap a rabbit in the forest? Did you just take down a fucking T-Rex? Just saying.
Well, again, calling the Steelers a T-Rex, let's
in the trenches at least.
Fair. I some of what, and I understand how good the Niners, especially defensively, are.
Do you?
But there's to me there's concern, a little bit of concern about what the Steelers are, and the kind of why I didn't have them as my wild card 3 in the AFC.
Yeah, well,
while marketed, they should be better. They should be a good team. I don't know that I'm ready to kind of put them on. I don't want to say pedestal, because I don't think you're crowning them as one of the AFC's best, but I think there's concern in some margins there that let's hold off and let's see what the Steelers can do over maybe the first 6 or so weeks of this season.
When the schedule we surely will. I get it.
Kyle, to your point, though, this is why I feel terrible now. So Florio has the same 5 teams in the bottom 5 as I do. Not the same order, but the same 5 teams. He has Bears, Panthers, Texans, Colts, Cardinals in that order.
Tell me you don't watch out the games without telling me you don't watch the fucking game.
But his top 10 is weird as shit. Niners 1, Dolphins 2, Eagles 3. This is where it gets weird. Jets 4, Chiefs 5, Cowboys 6, Jaguars 7, Lions 8, Ravens 9, and Bills 10.
And as a side note, and I know someone's
going to the Bills 10. What? Did he watch that?
Everyone has the Jaguars at 7. I can make the point that they allegedly did bad and still scored 31 points, but nobody wants to talk about that.
I think everybody has Jaguars at 7. I think Colin had him at 7-32 in the hierarchy.
I don't know.
I believe.
Anyways, let's get the hell out of here, boss man.
We press on. We have to close up as we do for with our locks of the week.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right. Lock of the week. What is one thing that will happen this upcoming weekend? Kyle, we'll start with you. What is your lock of the week?
EJ will have a reasonable thought and keep the Niners at number 1 on his power ranking.
I mean, I've been on the wagon for what, 2 years now? 2 years straight?
At least.
Actually, here's what I'll lock. Spoiler alert for those that haven't heard the tune of the game yet. I see a high likelihood that the Chiefs are 2 or higher next week.
Lock it up.
All right, EJ, what's your lock of the week?
My lock is simple. I'll piggyback off you again. Colorado will be 3-0 this week.
Oh, for goodness sake.
God, that's not piggybacking. That's just outright theft. Jesus.
Good Lord. Can you come up with anything that is...
Well, to be fair, I had his lock. I wrote these down like 2 days ago. So,
in fairness, his power ranking.
I had that locked up 2 weeks ago.
I think
you had to mean TCU and Nebraska out the shoot?
No. He said after TCU.
Sorry.
Okay.
The three of us said after TCU, we're expecting them undefeated up till they try to nix Bo.
Right. That's right.
So again, theft.
All right. It's lazy. It's theft, but I'm tired of hearing your bullshit. So I'm going to just move on. Matt's lock of the week is Notre Dame avoids a trap game and wins comfortably.
Lock it up.
Interesting.
I'd be fine signing up on that one. Mike has his lock of the week. Man Campbell will be 2-0.
Who do you play this
Lock
week?
it up.
Who do the Lions play this week?
Let's see how fascinating that actually is.
Who? I honestly don't even know.
Seattle.
Oh,
yeah, I'll sign off on that one.
Way to be bold there.
Devin.
Homer.
He has his lock of the week as the Dolphins beating the Patriots.
Speaking of boldness and predictability.
Sneaky good game this week, too.
Fine by me. My lock of the week is the defending Super Bowl champions will be 0-2 after the Jaguars beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Even with Chris Jones coming back. Interesting.
I said what I said.
You are aware that they have injuries at the offensive guard position, right?
The guy's covered.
The
Jaguars.
Said it. Okay. I said it.
I mean, listen, me, Kyle Nash of the Jaguar Report did try to inform you.
Duval.
There we go. All right, gentlemen. Tell them where they can find you, Kyle. EJ, you make this quicker, so go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes, yeah. Earth Week Podcast, all podcast catchers. Like I said, me and Kyle went at it today on the Instagram Report this week. Another great episode. Got a couple of good episodes coming later in the week as well, too. On Twitter, X, whatever we call it, E7.
No one calls it X.
I don't. Yeah, well, Twitter, X, whatever. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you don't have to do this every week like we get, like you're kissing Elon's ass, but it's Twitter.
I make money on this. Come on now.
Listen, you're going to need Elon if the Cowboys do bad and you have to launch McCarthy into the sun. Who else is going to do that for you? Okay,
buddy. I'll be 100% honest with you. If the Cowboys lose to the Jets, there will be a big part of me that isn't surprised.
I didn't say the Jets. I meant in the season.
Tortured. Yeah, exactly. Tortured Cowboys fan. He can't even enjoy being 1-0.
So, like I said, you'll need Elon when it comes to
EJ. You can ask my wife. I was plenty happy in celebrating the Cowboys beating the Giants by 40 on Sunday night, but it's a new week.
Yeah, exactly. I moved on already. That tape I burned already. So
40.
I know. It's burned.
Kyle,
already. I know.
where can they find you?
Does that mean the Cowboys are men since they beat them by 40? Hashtag Mike Gundy defense.
Wait, where is it?
I'm a man. I'm 40. Come after me.
The Giants are so bad they manifested a score as a living being. Jesus Christ. Glad we don't have any Giants fans on this panel. Anyways.
That would be embarrassing.
Fucking embarrassing.
You just don't understand football, Marge.
Anyways, gentlemen, an honor joy and privilege to come aboard. Listen, I know I was playing hurt, but with my stomach bug such that it was, I'm still in a position to say I'm feeling good enough to say confidently that I dealt with more crap in the power rankings than I did during my illness. Anyways, of course, I am Kyle Nash, a student of the game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Instagram as the same, the SOTG. Check out my writings with the black and gold banneret as I cover UCF Probably going to be a pretty easy game against Villanova here as they come to Orlando. But Timmy McClain starting over the injured John Rice Plumlee will make that interesting nonetheless. So check out my coverage on that on the Black and Gold Banneret, where I do night class every week to wrap up the football games, and also the Night Shift podcast with the Black and Gold Banneret. Then, of course, my coverage with the 3-point conversion and the Jaguar report of SI for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look out for that. I dropped a piece on Sunday about Calvin Ridley's return and how good he was in his debut coming back from his journey after his suspension. Folks, we have a number one receiver in Jacksonville, something you haven't seen probably since, gosh, I'll say what, Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardle days? Who knows? So look for that as well. Of course, my work as the Student of the Game on the Student of the Game podcast, 8:40 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday nights here, streaming on this very YouTube channel and others. Also, the Duval Dive, 11 a.m. on Fridays, doing the same to get you ready for the Jacksonville Jaguars game with me and my friend, Travis Holmes of Big Cat Country. And get ready for that to re-air on noon on Sunday. Both the Student of the Game and the Duval Dive on oldschool101.com, part of A7BN. I think that's everything, guys. Yeah. With that in mind, class dismissed.
Jesus, somebody wake me up when it's over.
Hey, listen.
Linktree, Kyle.
EJ's wife's.
I didn't even mention, and don't you finish that sentence, you son of a bitch. I didn't even mention the Orlando Magic press event I'm attending on Friday. So there's that.
Right.
Oh, cool. Very
Good
cool.
work. Good work. All right. You can follow me at Big Jim Sports. But the bottom line is make sure you are following along with the show. We are at Huddle Up Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, not Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can, like I said, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you share that. Get our merchandise over at tpublic.com. Subscribe on all podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and everywhere else you find the podcast. Until next time, stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.